everybody, here we are. It's another Zoomer Times TV show, and it's for the holiday. And I'm Anita Finley, and I have a very special guest, someone whom you've seen before, you've heard before, you've read about him before, Richard Lederer, calling in from San Diego. Good morning.
Good morning, and a nice whom there, someone whom you've heard about. Way to go. Accusative for the pronoun. Way to go.
Right. Well, I had a wonderful husband who was so good with English, taught me a lot of stuff, I have to tell you. So, but Richard, what is that on your face?
Well, that is my Christmas mask, and we're seeing more and more how important masking is. And I just thought I'd do it. But for the interview, you're going to have to look at my ugly face. And
Oh,
I hope you see. I could have put the Santa hat on, but
yeah, but
I've
what
got
is that? That's lovely. What is it?
Well, that's an old English, you see the mistletoe and so on, pine in the front. And so I thought I would wear this instead, put on my high hat and so on.
And I see in the background a lot of holiday colors and pictures and tree and everything.
Well, I have to confess, it's a green screen.
Okay, that's a green.
They
See,
can do
okay,
anything.
I thought you went through a lot of trouble to do that.
And then we take it all down, and I mean the green screen after the interview. But Anita, my gosh, we've got to be going on a decade of working together, and 1 + 1 = infinity. That's the way humans work.
I see. Okay, so I'm always so excited to read your columns. It's amazing how we don't ever get the same one. They're all different. And so you do you sleep at night? When do you do a lot of your thinking, Richard?
All the time, except when I'm playing tennis and sleeping, and I sleep well. It's just runs around in me. Let me just make a recommendation to give you an idea. One of probably the most watched Netflix series now that I just highly recommend is The Queen's Gambit.
I saw that when it first came out.
Wow.
It's the best movie. It's the best.
Thank you. And because you and I think a lot, but it has to do with genius, addiction, finding love and friendship. And you got to get through that dark first chapter because it becomes very important later on.
Yes.
And the cinematography with these modern television shows, and it's 7 episodes, so it's not like, again, The Queen's Gambit, the title, I played chess as an undergraduate. I'm a pattern finder, and I coach chess. So that was helpful, but not necessary. And what an arc of a story. And the cinematography and the evocation of, well, the 50s in Kentucky and then the 60s as the arc of her career goes up. Just amazing. And you recall in it, and I'm not giving anything away, that often when she lies in bed, she sees the chess pieces moving on the ceiling.
Yes.
I know that feeling, except with me, it's words and the letters dancing around.
I see.
And the reason
wait, tell me something. I did not know what gambit meant. I didn't look it up.
It's an opening, and not a very much used one. So, but it's a series of moves, and of course, she's female in a man's world, so that's very appropriate. It has a lot in it. She played the Queen's Gambit. My daughter Annie, of course, coming later, and the winningest woman in poker history at the time, and a woman in a man's world. She just adored I said, this is a movie made for Annie Duke, for. And by the way, on Friday, she is a partner in a group on promoting democracy, and her partner is Garry Kasparov, probably the greatest chess player who has ever lived.
Oh, and he wasn't Russian?
He is Russian, but
he's Russian, right?
He is Russian, very activist, and of course Annie's in another area of strategy, and they're going to be doing a Zoom on Friday, and just all of that stuff called "What Can We Learn from the Queen's Gambit?" And one thing we learn is love and friendship, and we have to recognize that. But
Yes,
see,
I love
you and
how
I,
it ended. Well, I wondered how it was going to end, Richard. Wasn't that
sure.
beautiful that she sits down with that older Russian man? I thought that was perfect. What an ending.
Yeah, well, but both. Well, we're giving it away a bit, but the former champion who says you're the best I've ever played, and then Borgov at the end. I'm not going to say how that comes out, but
Yeah.
in the big time, all of it, and we'd love to say more. Like for example, the African American girl from the orphanage, Jolene,
Yes.
and all of that stuff.
Oh,
Just what a story. And
really was.
incidentally, hey, Anita, just to let you know, and then let's get to Christmas. I can't remember the name of the actress, but she is Emma in the new iteration in the movie of the Jane Austen novel. Same
Oh,
act.
I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, good.
You'll
Well,
pardon me, folks, if Anita and I get off on the whole friendship thing, but
no, it's
you know,
okay because I
no,
think,
that are you kidding? That's the most important stuff.
yeah. But I told Dan as soon as I saw it, you got to see this movie. I've told a lot of people and said, well, I don't know about chess. I said, it doesn't matter. You'll learn so much,
Right.
but it's so humane. And and I know some people who are very successful today, and actually, they're in their, I guess they're in their 90s, and they were sent to orphanages, Jewish orphanages in New York, because
Oh,
their family didn't have enough money. But it didn't seem to make a difference because they became very successful. But orphanages were a thing of the, it happened many years ago.
Anita, two generations of my family, my father and his mother, both in orphanages as
See,
youth.
right.
And incidentally, on that, I'm a decent chess player, so I obviously understand how the pieces move. But they were talking stratospheric that I couldn't reach, and it didn't matter. Doesn't
Right.
matter whether you know chess or not.
Right.
And folks, it's spreading by word of mouth, and Anita and I both have great urges to make you happy and more knowledgeable. And so when we're both going nutso about the Queen's Gambit, you
Right.
might want to give it a try. And it's not like you're giving up your month, it's 7
No.
episodes.
And I don't like episodes because I don't have Netflix. I usually watch things like this over at my friend's house, and she and I spend Saturday night. So we put it on because I heard it was so good. And I was there, we started 8 and I was there till 1. And I said, I've got to go home. But I then said, next week, I've got to finish this.
So you came back over.
Oh, of course, I had to. That was the first time I really felt like I should have had Netflix, but no, they're doing great things on Netflix. As a matter of fact, that's really become the Hollywood place to see films.
And right into our homes. And that's the science. And this is the science that we're doing now. We had a lovely Thanksgiving in our family, because Annie, who hosted, is way back just outside of Philadelphia. But I am reaching more people by Zoom now during my active season, the
Right.
fall and early winter, than
Right.
ever before. And what's the point? Science will out. This science, the vaccine science, our entertainment, we're good at that. We human beings. Science will out. It will.
I
And
actually
and
saw an
it.
interview with the founder of Zoom the other day.
Oh wow.
I mean, think about that. This was and it's a great name, actually. And I think people used to do FaceTime, which was not the same, but it was there,
Skype.
but
Skype.
Skype, FaceTime. But this is really extraordinary. And I actually attended a funeral recently on Zoom. There were 20 or 30 people who attended, and I didn't know any of them. Everyone got to say something. And also I attended now we're attending these big meetings. I've been wanting to figure out, Richard, think about it, how I can have an expo on Zoom. That's my next, I'd like to figure that, don't have to do that now, because I want to talk about your book
Yeah, but
and Christmas and all that.
Anita, that is doable because the paper I write for, the San Diego Union Tribune, has now done that twice. And I mean, really huge. Again, I can't give you the mechanics, but absolutely, there can be communications with the presenters. it's doable. But a guy like Dan Verity, come on, he'll figure that out in a second.
Well, it's not that. It's how do we get the people? See, if you're going to have people attend, you need to figure out how to get people to attend that expo, because we're talking about the senior adults. I can get the exhibitors. I know that, but they're not going to come unless they're going to be a lot of, seniors there. So we'll talk about that.
All right, because one of these was what we call successful aging, and that
Oh,
is
really?
seniors, and very bigly attended, including my presentations. But that's all I can tell you.
Okay, well, we'll do it. We'll have to wait for after the vaccines come aboard. It's probably not going to be until maybe spring or summer, but I am thinking about doing it. So thank you. We'll talk more about that. But let's let you have the rest of this time for the wonderful book that you did on Christmas, and of course we featured in our December issue. We did feature, yes, there's the book. We featured your wonderful Santa Claus and all things that I never knew about St. Nicholas.
Right, well, absolutely. Well, the growth of St. Nicholas, originally Sinterklaas, a Dutch saint, and remember, I'm married to a Dutch woman, and that gradually morphed into Santa Claus in so many ways. So, for example, with the Dutch, the Pennsylvania Dutch, really Pennsylvania Deutsch, the how did we get Kris Kringle from the Christ Kinkel, which is Dutch German for the Christ child, which before Santa Claus was the figure who distributed the gifts under the tree. And then in the book, and kind of in that article, which I loved writing, and you actually ran it in its entirety, I was thrilled. We have had Christmas was not that large a holiday, and then it really started morphing with Santa Claus and the Clement Clarke Moore, A Visit from St. Nicholas, which we now know as The Night Before Christmas. And by the way, that meter, it's we think of Dr. Seuss when we think of anapestic tetrameter. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, and an elephant's faithful 100%. But that meter is 200 years before, or 150, was The Night Before Christmas, and all through the house, they're all anapest. But in that one, and that was big because that established Santa Claus as a giver of gifts, and he's up on the roof, and the reindeer, but they were teeny, a tiny reindeer and a right jolly old elf. So it took another New Yorker, Clement Clarke Moore, New York, the poem, I think 1822, in the second part of the 20th century in Harper's Weekly, there was Thomas Nast, the great political cartoonist, who actually gave us the donkey and the elephant as icon symbols for the respective parties. But he also enlarged Santa Claus, located his residence in the North Pole, and so on. Incidentally, shortly after his death, there was a big fight because Coca-Cola was picking up those popular images of Santa Claus, and the Nast estate sued Coca-Cola.
Really?
And you can imagine, with the clout that Coca-Cola had, who won. Coca-Cola won, and the judges decided you can't patent Christmas. You can't patent Santa Claus. You can't copyright Santa Claus. So the Nast estate. And then the other one there, 43 or 44, Charles Dickens, and a book that he wrote in a frenzy in 6 weeks that we know as A Christmas Carol. And what that did is establish the white Christmas, because you didn't get that much snow in London at that time. And also, we went from Happy Christmas, because remember the end of the Clarke Moore poem, and I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Well, in the other, it's Merry Christmas, and Scrooge screaming at his nephew, "Merry Christmas," ridiculous. But also established it as a time of giving. And actually, and by the way, we're going to be on that topic. We're going to be coming up on Boxing Day, and I want everyone to know Boxing Day is not a day in which people try to inflict brain damage on other people. Boxing Day is when the rich box up food or other gifts to give to
Oh,
the poor. It was established in Victorian England.
I did not know that.
And I didn't know it either with the writing. You want to learn something, Anita? Write a book. Boy, will you learn a lot, and it will just become baked into your brain.
And what day is Boxing Day from Christmas?
It is the next day. So
Oh,
there
it
are the
is the next
12
day.
days of Christmas that begin on Boxing Day, on Christmas, and then they go up to Epiphany. And let's take the 12 days of Christmas.
Okay.
If you actually add up all the things that are given by the true love to the female narrator of the 12 days of Christmas, I've counted them up. 142 birds probably crapping all over and 140 hyperactive human beings. Good
Oh,
Lord.
gosh.
Talk about hoarding. But some people have asked, and I'm the kind who does, why did the true love confer upon the narrator of the 12 days of Christmas not just a partridge, but an entire pear tree? Ugh, sounds like schlepping it around. It's a little bit cumbersome. And the answer is originally the 12 days of Christmas didn't have music. Then somebody provided music, but there was a French translation that in which the partridge, this is early modern French, late middle French, une patrie, une space Pertriz, une patrie. So you had a partridge, une patrie. Well, people thought une patrie meant in a pear tree rather than
Oh, I
just simply
see.
a
I
partridge
see.
and a
Yeah.
partridge. And so at any rate, that's what happened. And
But it sounds
ever
good. I like the way it
it
sounds.
does, and ever since that partridge has perched proudly in that in that pear tree.
I've
Uh,
never seen a pear tree, actually.
I don't think I have either. Incidentally, we've had a year of great anniversaries. Uh, Christmas became a federal holiday in 1870. So this is actually the 150th year, what we would call the sesquicentennial, meaning 100 plus a half, of Christmas as a federal holiday. And then Halloween, which we talked about, and I may have mentioned, I can't remember, was the 100th anniversary of Halloween in terms of citywide celebration. That one in Anoka, Minnesota, which still calls itself the Halloween capital of the year.
Really?
And we also had 2 full moons in October. You may remember the first, and that's
Yes.
what gives us a blue moon. It has nothing to do with the color. It has to do with, do you get 2 of them, which is very rare.
Right.
Do you get 2 of them into the same month? So just a heck of a year. And Anita, just your smile now. First of all, you are an autodidact, and that means a self-learner. And you just have, I think what drives you with Boomer Times and the whole enterprise is
Yeah.
you just have this urge, as
Yes.
I do, to learn every day. And especially as a senior, because I know you and I are chronological twins, but it radiates out. So let me tell you a little bit more on the book, and then I will show people how
Yes,
to get it,
please. The
but I
Christmas
don't think
humor.
it's going to be. First of all, seniors, the artist, and you see the cover there, is 91 and a half.
Really?
I am not kidding. And I am 82 and a half, just past it. At this age, you start doing that with the halves. When you were 4, I'm 4 and a quarter. Well, November 29th, I just passed 82 and a half. And I'll mention this because this might be of interest to a number of your readers and viewers. After 50 books with brick and mortar publishers, I came up with the Halloween and the Christmas book, 51 and 52. and discovered quickly that you cannot sell a seasonal book unless you're a towering celebrity, which I'm not, although you're doing your best to make me that. But you cannot sell to a brick and mortar publisher a seasonal book. It's too short on the span and the shelf life. So I went for the first time to self-publishing and found out that some of the disadvantages. I had to design the whole book, cover and everything else. I had to
Beautiful
place
job,
the book,
though. Great.
and I had to do the proofreading and balance the pages, etc. Design the back cover, which looks like this, incidentally.
Right.
And I'm very proud of it. Do a lot more work, but for that you get the better price point because you've put in the work. And as a result, I was able to represent 15 charities in this area and
Oh,
make and on each $13 sale, and that's what the books cost, I'm giving $8 back to each charity and still breaking even or close to it. More than $500 from my local library. Let me just share one other thing with you because I think we're still on time, or more than one.
yeah.
In the Christmas book, I collect celebrity quotes and about Christmas that are very funny. So, for example, I'll give you 5 of the 15 about. They're called "Ho Ho Ho" Christmas books, quotes rather. Johnny Carson, mail your packages early so the post office can lose them in time for Christmas.
Right.
And then this one, and I think you'll be able to see Shirley Temple
Yes.
there. Can you sort of see
No,
it?
not too well. Not too well.
Well,
That's okay.
let me try that. No, there's better. That's better.
Okay.
So you see Shirley Temple in a kind of a begging Santa Claus. So Shirley Temple writes, I stopped believing in Santa Claus when I was 6. Mummy took me to see him at a department store. And when I sat on his lap, he asked me for my autograph. Shirley.
No, that is really good. That's
Rodney
wonderful.
Dangerfield. Last Christmas, I got no respect. In my stocking, I got an odor eater. And I also received the battery that said toy not included. David Letterman, Halloween is the beginning of the holiday shopping season. That's for women. The beginning of the holiday shopping season for men is Christmas Eve.
True.
Right. And then from, I've not heard of this person, Dandy, D-A-N-D-I, Daler McCall, it looks like. What if it had been 3 wise women instead of 3 wise men? Sorry, just a minute.
Okay.
Later.
Later.
By the way, that's unplugged. It still rings. What if it had been 3 wise women instead of 3 wise men, capitalized? They would have asked directions, arrived on time, helped deliver the baby, cleaned the stable, made a casserole, brought practical gifts, and there would be peace on earth.
You know what? That is really a fantastic. I don't remember that in the book. I have to go look that up because that's the best thing that I have ever read about the holiday. No, that's beautiful. I've got to use that next Christmas.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I will send you these quotes for next. And real quick out there, although again, I live in San Diego. If you PayPal me now, well, there's the email address, Richard H. Lederer. Don't forget the H at gmail.com. There's the website. You can PayPal me through. It's just $13 a book. I'll take care of the shipping. And if you send the check, it'll be to that address below. But again, we're getting awfully close to Christmas. You may want to wait till next Christmas earlier, but that's the information. But I'm here primarily to share that with you. And I'm sure if you write into Anita, if you have a question. But
sure. Let me ask you a question. Where do you keep all your books? All the books you have in a big shelf with all your books?
Yes, one of each. And in a garage which looks a little bit like the last scene in the movie Citizen Kane.
No, you should keep it in your house.
Well, it's close enough, and it doesn't get too cold out there. But my own books, I do have a shelf, and of course now it's at 52. I have 2 more in the works, and hey, you know, you are what you are, and by some combination of genetic and environmental roulette, this is what I do, and I'm not aiming for a certain number. What helps though is writing columns each week or month or whatever for people like you. And after a while, they line up together and said, okay, there's a book here, buddy, write me now.
Exactly. That's very true. But you know, Richard, there's something that you said I want to go on. More and more, I'm finding people in their 90s creating great things. So you're just still young yet. You haven't gotten to be 90, nor have I, but yet if you have it and your brain still is not fried, you have so much more to offer and to give, and you have to just keep yourself healthy. I'm glad that the adults are not doing that the adults are staying safe, and now hopefully the vaccine will make the difference. So next year, next year, it's going to be different for us.
I agree, and to be human is to be creative. And thanks to the miracles of medicine and all those good people out there with their machines and medications, who really, those caring people who want us to live longer, we do get more creativity in the 90s, absolutely. And you do know that the fastest growing population in America, I'm not kidding, centenarians. Now, that's not a big group, but an absolute percentage, that's the fastest growing, the centenarian group.
You know, I don't know if you remember this, but when I became a gerontologist, I made a lot of speeches night after night after night, and I discovered that there was so much there. And so I actually wrote a book called Live to Be 100 Plus in 1992. And I just reread it. I don't know if you reread your books, but you know, if you reread your books, you'll really be amazed. I looked at that book, and there's so much that's exactly the same today in 2020 that I put in that in 1992, because people really never believed that they would live to be 100. I used to have people say to me, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "No, my grandmother lived to be 95, and that was, you know, when we didn't even have all this medicine." And we have 2 minutes left.
I have you. Yeah, I agree. Well, you know, my parents were born in the 19th century, 1894, 1899. I came very late in their lives. And the lifespan there was 46 and a half. 46 and a half. And I'm sure people that said, what, people are going to live to 70?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's also in your genes, because my grandmother lived to be 95, my mother 94, my aunt 95. So it's all part of, I think, that also, as well as taking care of yourself, right?
That's right, because the other thing is, my father died at 59, cigar smoking, and no exercise. And so sometimes, well, gee, I'm going to die young. No, there may have been some bad habits. You don't have them, so don't go by that. At any rate.
So that's it. Say goodbye. We're so happy that you were on today. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Boxer Day, everything, Boxing Day.
And Anita, Oive Maria, we'll all say.
And Happy New Year.
In the book, by the way, yeah. Happy New Year. Nice to have you near. See, that's a spoonerist.
Yeah, have you near. I love that. I'm going to use that too. You know, if you live close to me, I'd be in trouble.
Much the opposite. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye.